Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Onion Soup, the show where we pull back the layers of metaphysics and reality in order to demystify spirituality. And today we have a great guest. I want to welcome to the show Mr. Daniel, the spirit medium. How you doing
Not too bad today. And I love the name of the show because I love onion soup. So
today?
it's it's a thing. I don't
I
know.
do too. I do enjoy a really good French onion soup, even though I don't eat red meat. So if I make it, I have to make it myself with
I
like
used to not also eat red meat. I quit eating red meat for like 25 years, but I went back to it a few years ago because it was becoming difficult to remain a vegetarian. I mean, I went vegetarian because I was just having some issues in my life and with weight and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
I basically dropped 150 pounds in that first year ago and vegetarian, and I remained that way for a long time, but it just became more and more difficult. So I just went back.
Oh, wow, like, yeah, I'm not actually vegetarian, a lot of people think that I am, but I prefer vegetables. I just don't eat red meat or pork.
Yeah, I love vegetables too.
Yeah, you know?
I didn't like them when I was a kid, but man, they're rocking now. So
Yeah, I've always loved them as a kid. There are certain things I didn't like, but for the most part, I've always loved broccoli, and I've always loved
me too,
my
me
greens,
too.
you know?
Except for green beans, I won't eat green beans.
Oh,
I
I
don't
grew
like
up on
them.
green beans, they're so good.
I don't eat them because they are disgusting. So
What? I love them so much. I like most food. The only reason I don't eat red meat or pork is every time I eat it, I actually get super sick. And my body just doesn't
yeah,
process it very well.
yeah,
It's been that way
yeah.
since I was a teenager, but it was super off topic. It's just perfectly fine,
Yeah, not
you
what
know?
I'm used to talking about, but okay.
I'm always open to talk about food. I love to cook as well, so that's really
Yeah,
great.
who doesn't
I
love
think that's
food,
very
because
important.
chocolate is the best,
Oh
so
my god, yeah. But, before we got started, we were actually talking about, our views on astrology, and you're gonna go into what your thoughts on astrology were.
well, my view on astrology is that it's fake, and the reason why I say it's fake because, basically you come into this world, you wake up in a baby body, you're going, "What?" And your mom and dad's going, "I'm your mom and dad." You're going, "I don't know who the hell you are, but okay," and then they raise you and all that. But you come into this world of a bright, white, loving soul. And the only reason you are in this body is because the soul needs this body in order to travel throughout this world, in this
Mhm,
physical world. The soul itself chooses the body it's coming into. The soul itself chooses not only the body it's coming into, the lessons it's meant to learn, and the time of which it does come in. So no one is actually being born under the stars. You're just being born. But in the true fact of the astrology part of it, here's what astrology really was: a bunch of people
mhm,
standing around looking up at the stars and saying, let's pay connect the dots. Wow, it makes a fish. Okay. Now, look, we have 12 signs because we have 12 months.
mhm,
But the original calendar didn't start out with 12 months. The original calendar, long, long ago, started out with 5 months. Then
mhm,
it went to 9 months, then it went to 10 months, and then it went to 12 months. So what does that mean? They had five signs and they created four more, they created one more, and they created two more after that. So basically, but the truth of it all is you are a soul. The person I am speaking to right now is the
mhm,
soul because without the soul, the body wouldn't be alive. The soul is the power behind the body. It is like a battery and a radio. If you take the battery out, the radio doesn't work. Okay,
mhm,
and again, the only reason that the body is here, so the soul can be here in this physical world. Because if you were not meant to be born, you wouldn't be. So, in other words, you come from the same family as I do. You come from the soul family.
mhm,
The body, we just look too much at the body because we think it is everything, but it's not. Everything is the soul because the brain doesn't do anything except make the little parts work. It's the soul that retains everything. If that were not the truth, then why does everybody want me to get in contact with their mom and dad who has passed away and their mom and dad knows everything about them? And if they know everything about them, then how could they know everything about them if they don't have a brain anymore? Because they don't. But necessarily what I'm trying to get the point is the soul comes into the body and comes here and it chooses when it's going to be born. It
mhm.
has nothing to do with the stars.
Yeah,
And then in fact, you have 12 signs with 12 different groups of stars. What about the other billions of stars? What do they have to do with you? They don't have anything to do with you. Neither do the signs anyway. So Learn to let it go because uh, don't let that little article in a newspaper describe what your day is going to be like today. It's
Mm,
going to be like what you choose it to be by the decisions that you make throughout your day, and not some sign that everyone else thinks you should believe in, because it's just not true. You just the body is not just born under the stars. It's just born. The soul is not born under the stars. The soul was created a long time ago, which means God created that soul from a part of him, which makes your soul a divine soul. Everyone is a divine soul and has nothing to do with stars because stars are physical things. The soul was not.
mm. Well, I definitely agree with you with pretty much most of what you said. I agree with the fact that people put way too stock and credence into these astrological symbols.
Yeah.
And personally, I think that it's fun. I think it's interesting, but I think that it's not necessarily outlandish, but it's probably not that wise to put
No,
too much
I mean, it's
stock.
the same thing as numerology. I mean, numerology has nothing to do with any of us either because we created numbers. As
Mm,
well as we created our own words. God did not create words, he just gave us an ability to make sound. So you can say any word that you want to that begins with the letter F that doesn't sound like fire truck, and he doesn't really care. What he doesn't want us to do is put the negative energy on someone. So if you want to say a bad word all day, go right ahead. But if you want to put it on someone, that's where you're putting negativity on it. So he doesn't want us to do that.
interesting. I've never heard that we created numbers. I heard that we discovered numbers.
From where?
I don't know from where we
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, we didn't. We didn't discover anything.
The original, piece of literature that I read was actually that our current numerical system comes from a, like, an Arabic form of numerology, and that there's a
Where did the Arabics get it from? They're human as well. They
well,
created
yeah,
it. Yeah, it's
but,
all created.
that a lot of it came from, like, a divine channeling and someone meditating and speaking to spirits. As an individual who speaks
That
to
wouldn't be
spirits.
true either because all is one and one is all. So there's only it would only be the number one, one. Wouldn't be zeros, but wouldn't be one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because they all believe that all is one and one is all. We're all connected to each other. They don't need numbers. Why do
Mm.
we?
I would agree, I would agree. I think that it's probably just challenging for a lot of humans to be able to conceptualize the totality of everything, so being able to
That's
break
because
things
they can't think outside the box, or as I tell them, they always can't think outside the book,
mm, outside the book. What do you mean by outside the book?
the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
They can't think outside of it because it's all about power and control. It's a lie.
Mm. So
There's
as
too many people who say they live by the Bible don't.
mm,
They don't live by the Bible because within the Bible, if you actually get into the Bible has, murder, rape, pedophilia. They don't live by that. They
mhm,
only live by what they pick and choose, as well as the same thing when it comes to God. They only wanna pick and choose with God because the only time they ever reach out to God is through desperation. They don't listen to what He has to say all the time. They don't follow what He wants us to do all the time, only what they want and what they have or what they need at that moment. They don't wanna do it all day long. And
so
that's why
why do you
people
think
are
people
in
do
the
that?
situations that they're in because they don't listen. They don't trust, and they don't follow through.
So why do you think people pick and choose the things that they wanna listen to?
Ego,
Mm,
because they only want what they want when they want it. And some of us wanna win that one. You have 2 teams sitting there. I didn't know when there's a thing, "Ask and you shall receive." No, that is not the truth. Again, this is another thing that the Bible taught you. How do we know this is true? You have 2 teams, and they're both in their locker rooms at the same time praying to win the football game, but only one wins. Why does that happen? Well, because we created the rules. Only one can win. Does that mean the other team didn't have their prayers answered? No. It's just both of their prayers are dumb, more or less, because prayer is not for asking for more than you're supposed to have. Prayer is for giving thanks for what you do have.
mm,
We think everything is a punishment because we didn't get it. Well, there's a saying here that says, God bless you. Well, yes, God did bless you. He put us here. He wants us to figure out the rest. But not everybody can win because, well, we created the rules. Because there's only one winner, as far as we're concerned.
mm.
And if you were watching that movie, what is it? That NASCAR movie, they say second place is first place winner or a loser, right? So
Mm,
But, yeah, there's just we make too many rules in this world, and the rules don't apply to everyone.
mm,
So but they should apply to everyone because we should get rid of rules because we all come from the same place, the soul families, and we all have something in common with the other 7.5 billion people on the face of this earth because everyone does come back over and over and over again. But
mhm,
what happens is the thing that we have in common is we all went to heaven, we all had to come back. So what does that make us all? Equal.
mm. So
No one's better than anyone else.
what would happen if there was a world with no rules?
A world with no rules, we
Mhm,
would actually be doing the one thing that we should be doing, which is taking care of each other. We would look out for each other because as of right now, the people who are in control of everything in this world make sure that the rest of us don't like each other.
mm,
That's what they're trying to do now. The back in the day, the reason why Jesus Christ was here, the reason he came here, he's not God. And I know a lot of people think he's God. No, he's just a representation of God. But you know who else is a representation of God? Every single one of us.
mm,
Because we are all equal. We all come from that same place. We are all brothers and sisters. We are brothers and sisters to Jesus and to each other, to everything, because everything alive has a soul. We're all connected to everything. But he came here to let us know that we are all brothers and sisters. We can all take care of each other and look after each other. We could share everything. We don't have to live under the rule of power and control. We don't have to have any of that stuff. We can I could be a farmer, you could be a doctor, you could heal my wounds, and I could give you some food. We could call it a day, and that would be it. We could share everything in the world because there's enough of everything in the world to share with each other.
mm,
You could I we could in the sense of in sharing everything, I could go out and get, say, I go get a Porsche, a Porsche car, and then you could have a Porsche, but everybody could have a Porsche, and everybody could put all the cool doodads on their Porsche to make it look cool. And at that point, once we realize we can all have the same thing, then we would all realize that we're all equal, and maybe some of these other things that we thought were so important are no longer important because they don't actually hold any value unless we put them in our hands. Without
mhm,
us, cars and motorcycles and guitars and all that stuff don't have value. The true value in this world is what we have lost, which is us.
mm,
But Jesus was here to show us that we could do all this. But the people who were in power and control, kings and queens, and religion doesn't want you to know that, but they saw that Jesus was doing this, and they said, "We can't have this guy out on the street. He's taking our power. He's taking our money away. We can't have that happen." So they picked him up off the street, they put him on a cross. The cross is a form of punishment. They put
mhm,
him on that cross, they tortured and murdered him in front of everyone to let everybody know, if you do what he's doing, if you followed him and do what he's doing, we will do this to you too. So I tell people all the time, why do you want to wear a cross around your neck? Because it's not to remind you of what Jesus did for you, because we don't sin. If you're breaking their rules, then you're sinning.
mhm,
But, if that's if you follow their rules. I don't. But the reason they want you to wear that cross around your neck is not because they want you to remind you of what Jesus did for you, but they just wanna remind you of how much power and control they have over you. That's why. And
mm,
why would you wanna wear a form of punishment around your neck? That's not something to revere.
mm,
But why do people do it? Well, they do it because religion tells them to do it, and they follow in because we have been called sheep. We have been called the flock. And now, by the accounts of the narrative that's out there, we're now being called the herd. So we've been being have been being called sheep and cattle our entire lives,
mhm,
and we put up with it. We think it's okay. We laugh about it at the water cooler. No, stop laughing about it. Stop letting them control us and have power over us. I mean, they used God and Jesus in the Bible to use them as power and control. They say he's a merciful God, yet he's a fearful God. Well, which one is he? He's neither. He's a loving God. That's what he is. He's our Father. And we should treat him as that
mm,
because he treats us as though we are his children because we are his children. He doesn't want to punish us. We punish ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does he want to do that?
mm,
We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why do we need him to judge us one more time? Because he doesn't. But the power and control that is out there wants us to believe that. so that they can remain in control of us. And we are working 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week just
Mhm.
trying to make the ends meet. You know, we're living on crumbs while they are living as millions and billionaires. How has that happened? They have jobs that they make what $250,000 a year, but they're all millionaires. How does that happen? Because we have relinquished the power over to them a long time ago, and
Mhm.
we need to take it back. That's
Wow.
how.
Wow. So much powerful everything that you just said. And how do we get to the
And
point
all of that from
where
astrology.
right. Like, all right.
Sorry, Dexter, but that's the way
No,
it is.
not at all, and it's funny because I've definitely talked to people before about the, let's say, hierarchy of systems
Yeah,
and how we as the people, have somehow become so low on the totem pole
right,
that we don't even recognize that we're there anymore, and
right.
there's such a massive divide between the ultra wealthy. We subdivide ourselves in smaller groups on
Yes,
quote unquote lower end, and as if we can never even reach that pedestal.
yeah.
But let me ask you this, Daniel. How do we come together as a people in order to, quote unquote, rise up?
We stand against the system. We stop one thing we need to do is stop voting. That's for sure, because we are the ones who put them in office. It's the left wing and the right wing, but they belong on the same bird.
Mm,
They act in front of us as though they hate each other. I hate you because you're red, you hate me because I'm blue. They don't hate each other because they're all still in power. They don't really impeach each other. They just want us to think, this Ted Cruz guy goes after everybody, but none of those people actually get in trouble. Why? Because they're the ones who are in control. They're the ones in power. We need to stop voting. We need to take them out of the system because the system doesn't work. The party system does not work.
mhm,
The Constitution is not working. They're always they know what the Constitution says, yet they're always trying to take it away from us.
yeah,
But they never really do, and they never really take it away.
mhm,
They're just using it against us to keep us at each other's throats.
mhm,
The narrative is, they don't want us to get along in this world. But my policy is we all live on the same planet. No one's going anywhere anytime soon. So we better start to get along with each other before we annihilate each other. And that's where we're headed. We sit around in all of our countries and where we're at, and we have presidents, amongst leaders, telling each other that we're going to come after you, and I'm going to. Do they send any of themselves or their children
mhm,
out to war? No, because we, like from the very beginning, from kings and queens and religion back then, are the sacrificial lambs.
mhm,
When does that come to an end? When do we take down all the walls and just try to live together, to take care of each other? But we don't because we allow these people who we call our leaders to do this for us. And do they actually do anything to help us? They don't. It is all about them. I mean, we have that one woman, what's her name? Nancy Pelosi. Her
mhm,
husband is a billionaire. How did he become a billionaire? Because she's in office and she gets all these deals, these backdoor deals, because he owns a construction business and she gives all the deals, the contracts, the government contracts to him.
mhm,
That's insider trading. And we're not the regular guy, the regular Joe. If you got caught doing insider trading on the stock market, you go to jail. They don't go to jail. So what they need to do is they need to be fired. That's what they
mhm,
need to do. And we need to start over again because the system we have in play right now does not work. We are the ones who go to war and we are the ones who lose our lives. Not them, we do. And why do we let that happen? Because we relinquished the power over to them a long time ago.
mhm.
We need to take it back. We need to say to them, we need to be able to go into those office buildings and go into those capitals and tell them, you're fired.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. That's what we need to do. We
Wow.
need to rise up. We need to take a stand and say, we're not doing this anymore. We're just not. Because we tell them all the time, even with our President Biden, you work for us. And what does he do? He turns around and says, I don't work for you. Yes, he does. and we just let it happen. We have people in this world who are what we call famous. You know why they're famous? Because we make them that way.
Yeah.
And then we allow them to tell us what we're gonna do. Movie stars, we're gonna tell them. I mean, we have Bill Gates who's writing policy right now,
Mhm.
and he doesn't even have he's not even in office, and he's not an elected official. How is he able to write policy? How is the WHO or, World Economic Forum allowed to write policy when they're not even elected into their all they are a bunch of rich guys who decided to put a committee together, and because they have so much money, they have so much power and control, they do it, and we just let it happen. I never heard of the WHO until, the pandemic came around,
Mhm.
and we all know that the pandemic was created by people in our government over in China who we are supposedly supposed to hate,
Mhm.
yet still nothing gets done. Because they all wash each other's back and scratch each other's back, and we are the ones who get in trouble, not them.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that our entire system is messed up, and not just from a political perspective, but
Yes.
including our healthcare system, our
Yes.
educational system. There's so many aspects about what goes on here in our country that truly do need a reform. But with that being said, we're gonna take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Zip it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. So, Daniel, I wanted to ask you something about being a spirit medium. But as
Sure.
we're talking about politics and the state of affairs in our country, do you ever have the opportunity to talk to individuals on the other side or spirits about our country?
Every day.
So, what are
Um,
their thoughts? What do they
the
say?
ones that I speak to so regulars I see spirit all day long. I don't ever not see spirit, ever. I don't just see people, I see dogs, cats, horses, cows, fish, other beings from other places. I see everything. And they do talk to me, but that's not who I get my information from. I get my information from who we would refer to as archangels. They're not men with wings and shields and swords. Most of the ones that I see don't even look like people because they're not. They're just a being of a higher consciousness that just no longer needs a body anymore. Um, they want us to move forward. They want us to get back to what we were meant to be, which was working together to help each other, to provide for each other, and to take care of each other. That's what they truly want from us. But they understand, they see what's going on in this world, and they wish we would do better. But the only way that we're going to do better is by doing it together uh, with each other, doing better for ourselves, but doing to better together as a collective.
Mhm.
But they understand that that's a hard thing to do, but that is a lear that's we're all here to learn lessons and fulfill a purpose, and our purpose is we're here to help each other just for the sake of helping, not because you can, but because you should, and in a way that we're helping someone to do something they cannot do for themselves or helping them to figure it out, and that's what they want us to do, but they just see that we're just not doing a very good job. So they do employ some of us to try to bring others up, to try to raise each other up and try to get back on track as myself and others who are out there. I mean, I'm just not the regular typical, rainbows and unicorns, everything is love and light, medium. I'm not about that because, that's for somebody to do as a circus act. I'm not a circus act.
Mhm.
I'm here to give people peace of mind and clarity, but give them direction in their lives. The direction in the lives that I'm here to do is to bring them to a sense of peace, to get rid of all the muck in this world, because people feel as though sometimes they're swimming in this world and they're drowning at the same time. And what they're doing is drowning in the mud of society that society has put out there for them to drown in because they want They want society to believe that only they can save them from it, but they actually can't. You can save yourself from it by not paying attention to what society is bringing you all the time. The idea of having 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats all the time and working your butt off so you can go into debt, and don't worry, they'll bring you out of debt so you can go back into debt again. So
Mm,
they want everyone to remain the victim. They want everyone to go with the victim mentality so that you will never be saved from anything, and they will always have you under their thumb thinking you're thinking that they are taking care of you when they're actually not. They just want you to continuously be a customer. That's what they want you to do. We have to wake up and decide that we just don't wanna do that anymore. We have to get away from it. The best way to do that is learn how to farm your own food. Get away from the system. And little by little, once you learn how to do one thing, you'll be able to learn how to do other things. You can have somebody who's good in your group or good in your family who's good at sewing, and somebody who else is good at woodworking, and someone else who's good at helping putting buildings together. And once we get away from the system, they will see that they no longer need us, and eventually their system will break down and disappear. And then we will get back to that that simpler way of life, of knowing that we don't need all that other garbage in the world. Again, like I said, everything else that's out in the world, cars and even, our money system's based on what? Paper and rocks,
yep,
gold and paper. That's all it's based on. When the true value is us, because those paper and rocks aren't worth anything unless we hold it in our hands, unless we have it in our bank accounts. That's the only time it's worth anything. But so again, the true value in this world is us. We need to get back to the basics of who we are, what we are, and where we came from, and what we are meant to be, so we can get away from all this other bullcrap that's out there.
mm,
And then finally, once we do that, we will see we don't need anything else, and all we really need is each other. Because in all, we're all in this together. We've always all been in this together, and we could still have some of these things, but we could do it for the reason of just because, and not because it costs us money. Because when it costs us money, then that's when it comes down to it costs our lives, and that's not worth it.
oh, wow. That's pretty much all the time that we have for today. I wanna thank you for coming on, but, stick around because I definitely want to continue the conversation.
Yeah,
But for
absolutely.
everybody that's watching this here on, streaming through Roku or on the E360 TV network, check out our YouTube channel to hear the rest of the conversation. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later and see you soon. Bye.